Alright, so this video will be showcasing a ammo dump ranger veteran build. It uses one-hand hammer, crossbow, and you just want to dump all of your ammo as fast as you can in opportune situations. Starting out, I use stagger HP. I'm sure you could use cleave if cleave gets a buff, or if you just prefer cleave temp HP. I just prefer stagger. Moving on, we're going to Master of Improvisation. Reloading a weapon takes 2 seconds off of your ultimate. It's pretty good whenever you're spamming crossbow specifically. I'd say on all other weapons, pass on this talent. It's not too good. I'm using Enhanced Power because, once again, this is a crossbow loadout. Mainstay and Bulwark aren't too appealing even with one-hand hammer, in my opinion. I'm using 30% ammo on ammo caches. This is essentially what makes the loadout work. If you were running share and share alike, you probably would run out of ammo, and if you're running scavenger, you'll also run out of ammo. There aren't enough specials in base game Legend, but the following game is a Twitch game. I had 2 games with these people. Both were really good. I just thought that the Twitch mode one was a little bit more exciting. And then moving on to Firing Fearing. Hitting 2 enemies with 1 range attack increases reload speed by 35%. This is amazing. It's not for the next reload, it's actually it's a 2-second buff, and you can get off upwards of 3 reloads on crossbow. It's great. And then finally, Ranger's Ambush increases disengage to 15 seconds. I'm sure you could run Surprise Guests, however, I wouldn't. I actually prefer the turret-style gameplay of using my ultimate when I think is most valuable, whether it's to be taking care of a horde, or putting additional damage onto a boss, or even in a panic scenario where I'm going to be grabbed. This talent is just a little bit better in my opinion. Typically as Ranger Veteran, you're not running away from the team, you're a support, you want to chase specials, you want to shoot specials. I think that Ranger's Ambush is a little bit better for this style of gameplay. Onto equipment. I'm using a one-hand hammer with crit chance and stamina, along with swift slaying. I'm sure you could use block cost reduction, but the whole point of this build is to be proactive as you can. Avoid blocking as much as you can. Typically, one-hand hammer is a parry stick, and that's what I'm using it for in this loadout. Our crossbow is 10 armor, 10 Skaven with conservative. 10 armor, 10 Skaven is also going to be combined with our 10 armor, 10 Skaven charm. You could slot out one of the Skaven for chaos. It's for the flamer and gunrat breakpoint. On our necklace, we have 2 stam, 20 HP, along with boon. Boon is really nice with stagger HP. I'm sure that you could run the additional dupe chance. You could even run natural bond if you wanted. This is preference, use what you want. Once again, the charm is 10 armor, 10 Skaven with proxy. You could use Decanter if you desired. I prefer proxy. I think it fits more with my general gameplay of supporting other people and making sure that I have the best chances of living myself. And finally, onto our trinket. Don't look at that curse resistance. Stamina recovery, you probably want move speed. Grenadier, you could use shrapnel. Trinket is entirely preference, does not matter to this loadout. Aside from that, hope you enjoy the video. So this is a bit of post commentary on this video. This is the crossbow ranger veteran build with maximum reload speed and ult charge on reload. This is a Twitch game, of course. At the start of every Twitch game, you have a 45-second grace period. And you can see that I'm immediately trying to just jump into it. These are just light ambients, and it's not really worth my time sticking around and slapping them to death. It's a waste of time, really. I'm trying to get as much value as I can out of these ambients. It somewhat works. I figure since the team wasn't going to be moving, I'll just grab as much supplies as I could at the time. There's a rat horde behind, so I am actually very interested in that. I start to make my way toward it. There's a lot of APM during this video, so that's why I opted to do a post commentary. Actually, I wouldn't want to be fumbling over my keys and play. Because I do use a push to talk in my video. I think it's a little bit better than activation. You can hear the amount of enemies that I'm hitting with my crossbow bolts. Even though crossbow is nerfed considerably with its cleave, I still think it does a pretty great job at hordes. I think that this is a regular ammo cache for some reason. But then I came to the realization that it was actually one of my own, so I picked it up. That horde was absolutely easy. My teammates didn't have to worry about leak in the slightest, they were just running in a straight line. Once again, the breakpoints in the video were Fire Rat and Gun Rat. So you'll always be seeing me body shot them to death, not even trying to go for the head. I wouldn't really be concerned about conservative shooter. If you get it in a horde, that's great, but don't stress it. Keep in mind that aiming down sights with crossbows do give you 15% crit chance. I can't really do anything against bosses, and I get double slapped. I'm just waiting for specials or a horde as of the moment so that I can play defensively. I'm being very sloppy with my crossbow bolts. Gunner's in, gunner's dead, really easy. I set it for horde right here. You'll see that they start to leak and there's just not much that I can do about it. I'm going to be running out of ammo pretty shortly. So, I hoped that no one took the ammo, and no one did. I use a speed pot here as a defensive priority. I gave it to the Kruger because he's dealing with horde alongside with myself. And speed potions with this loadout give you pretty easy reloads. You don't really have to worry about enemies chasing you down. Once again, another gunner, another ammo cache. This loadout just kind of looks like you're spamming and shooting everything. It really is. That's the that's kind of the whole idea behind this loadout. You get your ult incredibly fast as well. Another speed pot. I don't actually worry too much about my teammates. What I am worried about though is this gutter. You'll see me struggle with him. Only hit him 3 times. He has about 20 damage on him. So he's hurt. He dies really easily. I think he dies to fire. No ammo issues. Getting the leech breakpoint is pretty much impossible with this loadout to body shot them. They're a little bit too chunky. If I could, I would, but it's just not doable. We're coming into market. This next section is market. And it's not too hard to get through, I think. Market is kind of a trouble zone for a lot of pubs. There's a lot that can go wrong. Bosses, patrols, high density. There is a beast horde coming in. So I decided to take a defensive route and back up toward the next section, which is plateau or statue, whichever you want to call it. Now, I placed on my smoke here in a pretty supportive position so that I wouldn't be shooting my teammates in the back. I can also see when specials drop in to the left. Flamer's in, he's dead. Gutter should drop in the same position. I know this, but there's a monk. Monks are pretty oppressive against this loadout if you're not prepared. Saltspire's in trouble, and this loadout actually does a pretty good job at helping him out. I struggle right there with my crossbow simply because there's too much. I try to pass off my speed pot, but I think the Saltspire kind of just runs around with it, swinging his rapier. I'm not too sure. I don't look behind myself. That's okay. Now, this is actually a pretty big gameplay mistake that you shouldn't do yourself. Shooting shields is kind of a waste of time. It is one crossbow bolt to disarm a shield, but I just wouldn't recommend it. I realize this and start to melee them. It's just not worth my time to shoot my crossbow at them. little bit dangerous as well. This is a very sloppy gameplay moment. I'm just not aiming. Lots of ammo, though. I do tunnel vision a lot with loadouts like these, simply because they do have a lot of upfront power. I wasn't too worried about this Chaos Warrior, simply because of the amount of stagger and insta-kills on our team. This is a pretty sticky situation that we're about to be in. We haven't cleared any ambience. I did see that there was a purple up here, so I grabbed it. I don't know if I end up using this purple. I don't think I do. This is pretty much the last position you want to be in with this loadout, is being targeted by a boss. Of course, we get Act on Instinct. There's a horde, and it's coming behind us. So that's bad for me regardless, because the enemies will spread as they waterfall. That's really unfortunate. And this is a big gameplay mistake. I barely go out of my cloud to try to get additional cleave, and I just blew it. So now I'm not invis, I don't have the 20% damage bonus. Effectively a wasted ultimate. Be very wary whenever you use your ultimate. Horde is still behind. My mind is still melting because of Act on Instinct. Once again, hammer being a parry stick. That's about all hammer is good for anymore, unfortunately. As well, I didn't explain this in the loadout section of the video, but I am actively reloading. Every time I press mouse 1, I'm pressing R to shorten my reload. It's around a third of a second that you lose if you don't do this, but it adds up. That adds up a lot of time. I don't even think that you can reload twice with your reload talent if you don't manually reload. What a nice spawn. I do hand off my purple to the bounty hunter. I don't know who bombs the wizard, but yes. This horde coming up is actually pretty weird. I don't know where they were coming from. The bell was forward, they spawned to the side. You'll see how scrambled this horde is. This is also another situation in which you can't really prevent, and it's pretty difficult to play around. You can't get a lot of value out of your crossbow. And it's really frustrating, actually. I contemplated dropping my smoke bomb, and I think I do right here. I do. This is just for damage on the boss, it would appear. I try to line up some collaterals so that I get my reload speed. And this boss is dead. Pretty easy. Even though I can't see enemies that are coming, I still shoot. I'm not too worried about my ammo, not in the slightest. You won't be cleaving maulers with this loadout, but everything else you can cleave through pretty easily. This is a good example of when to use your smoke grenade. There's a lot of interruptions. Bestigors can easily charge through your teammates and get at you. I decided it was value enough so that I could stagger and potentially kill the Bestigors. I think that Darkness of Heresy almost made me stop there and hold, but it just wasn't worth it. You can see well enough in this finale, and it looks pretty cool. Speed pot used to get an early advantage in the finale. I'm just trying to go as fast as I can through the finale. I see good value here, so I begin to bunker down with the Mercenary. Really good value. I've been trying to avoid friendly fire, but it's hard. It's certainly hard sometimes. Smoke bomb on the Sienna so that I can heal her. Really easy finale, and I think that I don't think that this finale was tweaked in this beta patch. But this isn't a loadout that relies on anything in the beta. Seeing that my ammo was so low and the threat density is high enough so that we won't get any more specials, I actually decide to just wait and actually use my one-hand hammer for a change. I do think that missing a lot really does show how forgiving this loadout can be. However, I don't think what was shown was being punished while you're in a horde and shooting. That's why the invisibility portion of this loadout actually works so well. We're about 20 damage off of the Storm Vermin breakpoint, but it wouldn't change too much, I think. If you're really desperate to get Storm Vermin kills, you can always ADS. I thought that this was the better of the two rounds. The other was a Righteous Stand round. It was pretty slow, but I really felt as if this round was a lot better, just because of the intensity. The Twitch mode actually did show off a good portion of why this loadout can be strong. That's it. Thanks for watching.